please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Sharp slide in the Chinese equity markets, so a sudden fall to about a 1% cut, and this is despite the March GDP data for the Chinese country looking much better than expected at 6.8%. As you can see, a vertical slide in the Chinese markets after they opened up from their lunch break. For our own markets, just fluctuating between the red and the green line as we speak. The benchmark indices are down a couple of points. The key losers include IT names led by Wipro, which has been a rank underperformer with an underperformance of nearly 25% vis-a-vis the IT index since the start of the year. Tata Motors 6% gone this entire week. Cuts also seen in Axis Bank, Sun Pharma and Bharti Infratel. Ashwini Gujral and Rajat Bose now join us on the show now. Ashwini, a tad bit subdued. How have you read the day so far?
See, I think 10,550, 560 was a clear resistance. Now today, a new variable has come into the picture, which is the rupee. And because of that, your inflation thesis goes out of the window. So my sense is that in the second half, we should see a decline, and particularly banks should come off because they were pricing in a benign inflation, and obviously a depreciating rupee does not do that. So market is sideways, 10,450, 550. That's about the consolidation band. But it appears that we are heading for a 2-3 day type of subdued market, subdued to lower, and broadly, yesterday's low of 10,400 should now act as a stop for all sorts of multi-day positions. But overall, for the second half, we are short on the bank nifty. Having said that, PFC is a sell with a stop of 89, target of 82. IRB Infra is a sell with a stop of 262, target of 248. And Natco Pharma is a sell with a stop of 800, target of 835.
Ashwini, on the Nifty, it's around 10,400, right? The stop loss. What about the Nifty Bank for those who are, holding any kind of long positions?
See, similar stop loss of yesterday's low, which was about 25,050, 25,100, thereabouts.
Okay, all right. So that's around 175 points from these levels. Thanks so much for that, Ashwini. Going across to Rajat. Rajat, what's your view on the market as well as stock calls you've got for us?
See, I have a feeling that we are actually likely to go down in the second half, and I'm envisaging the downtrend that was there till about 23rd of March is likely to resume. And this was a corrective rally, and on your sister channel, I have at least mentioned it 3 times over the last 15 days that I was expecting a top any time between last Friday and today, and probably we have had a short-term top, and after that there could be a decline, and this time the decline could be led by the bank stocks again. And apart from that, if the Nifty were to bridge 10,400 to about 10,370, this is a critical support area in my view, then we can see a much greater slide on the downside. And once Nifty Bank goes below 25,000, then there will be more weakness coming in, which appears to be quite likely. Despite that, I have a feeling that some consumer stocks will continue to do well. So for the rest of the day, I suggest buying Pidilite with a stop below 1,032. These are April futures level, and target would be 1,065. And Raymond is a sale. This stock, or rather this futures contract also, is sliding right from the beginning of the trading session. My stop loss is above 1,070, and the targets are 1,026 and 1,005.
By the way, sharp slide in the bank nifty. Let's get the intraday up for you on the bank nifty. A vertical drop there as we speak, so down close to about 0.25%. A couple of drags include State Bank of India, so that's lost nearly about 2% from the high point of the day. Yes Bank is in the red now. You've got weakness in Axis Bank through the course of the trading session, so that's down another 1.5%. But bank stocks losing ground. In fact, we're getting the early rates from Europe as well. So let's get them up for you on your screen. Remember, Asia is trading subdued with Hang Seng down close to about 150 points. Europe at least has started off pretty okay. So the DAX has got a gain of about 0.4% in the green for the CAC and the FTSE. But Asia is a picture of contrast. We'll, Ashwini, you said that perhaps for the next 2 or 3 days, there could be some subdued trading we could see in the banking stocks and the Nifty in particular. Any trade on the large cap banks that you would recommend?
See, basically everything goes into a correction, and when inflation picks up, the worst performers are PSU banks. So I would think PSU banks are is the place where you can go short on.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Ashwini, as well as Rajat, for joining us and giving us those calls. By the way, the Nifty is sliding. We've moved to the low point of the day. 10,500 is almost here. So keep an eye out on that mark. Even a Hindalco that was gaining because, in fact, aluminium prices, they've moved to maybe the highs that we've seen in half a decade, 2011 highs odd. But that one as well is giving up some gains. SBI is the drag in the last few minutes. That, in fact, has given up. Even Tata Steel, when we started off the show, well, it was up at around that 602 odd mark. Tata Steel as well has moved lower. Well, I think we're getting...
I think we're going to get in some reactions on the cash crunch crisis that has hit a few states in the country. Rajesh Kumar, the MD of State Bank of India, is now here with us on the phone line. Good afternoon, Mr. Kumar. If you could first tell us what seems to be the key problem that ATMs are running dry and we're facing this cash crunch.
No, just to give one statistics, the currency in circulation after demonetization is 18.2 lakh crore in March 18. Pre-demonetization level was 17.98 lakh crore. So it means that the currency in circulation in the country is absolutely sufficient. But there are certain states, like the state of, say, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Andhra, even Punjab, where because of the procurement season, the demand of the cash, there is a surge. So we have to do some balancing act. There are some of the states where the currency is available in the currency chest. So we have to move some currency from one state to another. Okay. For security reasons, obviously, I can't tell you the name of the states. So an emphatic statement which I can make is that as far as the currency with the public is concerned and with the banks is concerned, it is more than pre-demonetization level. And which is enough to meet the requirements of the economy. Okay. About the ATMs also, I review the position every evening and morning, what is the availability. And this is my normal drill. It has nothing to do with that I have started doing yesterday or day before. That is the drill we have been doing. Channel availability is one of the issues which we have to ensure from the customer service point of view also. So channel availability also, it ranges between 84 to 88%, which is again something which is not, I would say, which is more or less a normal situation. But in certain geographies, as I said, that if the demand for cash has gone up, then we have to do a little bit of balancing act also, that from the branch, whether we meet the requirement or we meet the requirement through ATMs. Okay, but the situation on the whole, I would say that a little bit of imbalance here and there. So that situation, in any case, bank is addressing, and RBI, we are also on constant touch.
Mr. Kumar, 1 minute, sir. Why should only this year's procurement create a problem? We have seen procurement for years now. 4 decades of my existence, I have seen procurement. We have never heard of a cash crunch during procurement. Is the supply of cash lower? Is there any issue in terms of printing and supply of notes?
But Lata, I have given you the statistics. 18.29 lakh crore. And the
No, what is 18 point? That is currency with the public, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I looked up the numbers. It is 18.29 lakh crore, you're right. And in January, it was 16.3 lakh crore. So
it has increased.
Yeah, I'm telling you the increase is about 1.2 lakh crore. It was not 18, sir. When I checked out, it was 17.99 as of March 31st. You're probably giving me an April figure, which is 18. That means about 1.8 lakh crore has been withdrawn. This is unprecedented. Why would people withdraw so much? Even before demonetization, we had hit a high of 30,000 crore a month. But now we are going over 40,000 crore a month. Why would people be withdrawing so much cash? Is this the return of black economy?
No.
Mr. Kumar?
Yeah. So
and why is so much money being withdrawn?
So that is a question for which, honestly, I will not also have a ready answer. That needs to be analyzed. But the cash is within the system, that you will agree.
Yes.
And that is what precisely the point I'm making. And I'm making it through your channel. I'm making it through other channels also. That if there is no shortage of currency, why should people withdraw and not bring it back to the banks if they are doing so? So let there be no holding of the currency. Let it be like coming back to the bank. And I'm assuring that whatever money public wants to withdraw, so that money will be made available by State Bank of India. So obviously, is there an attempt? And that is for maybe because I always have the situation before me of State Bank of India currency chest position. But this is something which really what the point you are making needs to be looked into. That why should the cash in certain geographies not come back to the system? Or if there is a system in the cash overall, then why should there be a need to draw more cash?
Yeah, sir,
so
but I'm sure...
one point, everybody agrees, you will agree, I agree, everybody agrees that the currency is more than what it used to be.
Absolutely.
Earlier.
Not just that, it is alarmingly high, the current extent of withdrawal. In fact, my math, if what you say 18.29 is right, I just looked up the RBI website for January 5th. The currency in circulation is 16.29, which means 2 lakh crore of currency has been withdrawn by citizens in the last 3.5 months. We are running at 50,000 crore cash withdrawal a month. I mean, this is serious. Have you had talks with the government, with RBI? Is this got anything to do with this FRDI bill and, bank fraud and people having a fear? Or is this something else that people are paying for probably services of, parlors and tuition teachers and chartered accountants and doctors and lawyers in cash because you want to avoid 18% GST? There should be a larger reason. People will not withdraw unnecessarily.
Okay, I think unless I have all the facts that why it is happening, this requires some maybe deeper analysis, and I will ask my chief economist also to do some analysis and do some number crunching before we can also find a rationale. But as of now, because yours is a very respected channel, my appeal to the public is that there should not be any panic situation. There is sufficient currency in the system. And this currency needs to be circulated. That is the only thing.
Yeah. You have any idea in terms of numbers, how many ATMs are running or how many branches have fallen short?
Our availability of ATMs from different geographies, it varies from 84 to 88%.
So 10% shortage in many areas.
But that is normal. We can never have 100% ATMs running. That is not physically and technically possible. And if we achieve in any month or any day a 90 or 92% availability, we consider it to be excellent.
Okay, there are some people who are guessing that the ATMs were not calibrated for the new 200 rupee note. Is that an issue at all, or is people making up excuses?
No, that calibration is going on, and for a State Bank of India, we have done about 55% ATMs have been calibrated for 200 rupees note, and this exercise is going on. But I think what people need is probably 500 rupees, not more. So an ideal combination will be 500, 200 and 100. So on select locations, we have ATMs for even 2,000 rupees. But most of our calibration will be in these denominations.
So just a final question, sir. Has the supplies from the currency chests been as they were in the past 10 years? Is it growing at an organic pace? Has there been any shortfall in supply at all in the last 2-3 months for any reason?
No, the reason you yourself are saying that...
No, I spoke about withdrawal. I am asking you in supply terms, has there been any change at all, either less or more?
No, in last 1 year, RBI has supplied a sufficient currency.
So supplies is not to blame. It is the extra demand to blame, you think?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kumar, finally, when do you think situation can be restored to normalcy?
So the normalcy, I think, as I said, that some movement we are doing internally from one geography to another, where we are finding that there is imbalance, and Reserve Bank of India also, because they are also aware of the problem. So from one bank to another, those movements are also happening, and I hope that the situation should improve in next 2-3 days. Wherever
specifically,
there is a shortage, but it is not across the country.
Specifically, which is the pocket according to SBI?
No, it is Andhra, Telangana, MP and North Bihar.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh Kumar. We are going to flash what you are saying repeatedly and ensure that the message is carried that there is no crunch in the system and that people should freely redeposit what they withdraw. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Lata, this interview has raised a lot more questions than answers. What is the reason for the cash spike? As you said, you've been tracking procurement of crops for the last many years. What is so special about this time? Or is it the return of black economy, as you pointed, as you'd asked Mr. Kumar?
My sense is that, there was an increase in amount of cash that people were using for transactions for the last 4 or 5 years. I remember writing a piece in the Mint about 2 years back, or maybe 2.5 years back, because the cash being withdrawn in some months rose to 30,000 crores, which was unusual. Every week the Reserve Bank releases a figure called currency in circulation and currency with the public. They're more or less the same. That is, take currency with the public. It used to increase by 2,000 or 3,000 crores in days of yore. In 2011-12, we never even used to track it. Suddenly in 2014-15, we started tracking it because it became 20,000 crores in some months and 30,000 crores. And we used to wonder if, Diwali month people withdraw a lot. During school fees payment time, June, the currency with the public increases because withdrawals are more. But suddenly, why should 2014 and 2015 see unusually large withdrawals on a rising scale? Now, one reason that I attributed it, and not many economists agreed, is that service tax became a very important component. Till 2011-12 budget, some services were taxed. But in the 2013 budget, services became a negative list. All services will be taxed except health or something like that. 2 or 3 services were not taxed. Everything else was taxed. And India is a service economy. 60% of the GDP comes from services. So whether you go to a spa or a tuition class or, a parlor or lawyers, teachers, doctors, all of them refuse to bill because you are taxed. And therefore you started seeing more cash withdrawals, was my guess. Now, we don't know the reason. All we know is that Reserve Bank's currency with the public went on increasing. And the guess I was making backward is that probably more services are being paid for in cash. Doctors and teachers and everybody are being paid in cash. And that's why people are withdrawing more cash. Now, there was an interregnum for this during demonetization when a lot of the money came back. But we never had cash withdrawal to the extent of 50,000 crores a month. That desire for cash has returned with a vengeance now. So my sense is this GST of 18% could be the culprit. Everywhere you have to pay that 18%. So imagine if you are a consultant, a psychologist, and you're a consultant. Until yesterday, you were charging your patient maybe 1,000 rupees for a visit, and now you're charging him 1,200 almost. 11,000, 1180. And naturally, the tendency will be, sir, can I pay you in cash so I can avoid that 180 rupees? Now, I know people who are charged 10,000 for a year's treatment, and they have to pay 11,800 because of the 18%. So there is a bargaining with people. Can I pay this much in cash? It happens in several instances. Maybe, just maybe, that is the reason. But I do want to add that some people believe that there is a bit of a scare, extra scare about banks. That FRDI bill, that deposits are no longer secure in a crashing bank, may have created some fear. The Punjab National Bank fraud and subsequent bad headlines for banks may have created. I don't think that could have created extra withdrawals, but there are some people who believe it is compounding an already cash situation and may have added just that bit. But my own sense is that this is the return of black money. It's the return of black economy with a vengeance. And maybe reduction of service tax, maybe, if you have to pay only 5 or 10%, people will more willingly pay it in bill in white. It's not speaking well of ourselves as citizens, but that just could be the most intelligible reason.
Well, and then it will have broader implications on how will the government meet its GST collections. They have to hit 1 lakh crore in FY19. So if this is, truly, if this is, cash is used as a currency to avoid GST. Anyway, this is a big story that we're going to be tracking through the trading session and later on CNBC TV18. But exclusive comments coming in from Rajneesh Kumar, the MD of State Bank of India.
Right, then a few stocks are putting in a bit of a fight for the Nifty as we speak. HUL, Hindustan Unilever, that's a stock that's sitting with a gain of around 1.5% as we speak. I think you should pull up the intraday chart. Yeah, that's more or less unmoved. And I think maybe a couple of other stocks, BPCL, Kotak Mahindra Bank, in fact, has recovered close to around 0.5% in the last few minutes. So you should keep an eye out on that stock as well. But on that note, we'll wrap up, I think, on Halftime Report. You stay with us.